Get ready to dive into the world of geopolitics as we unpack those potential consequences of the rise of BRICS, how it might reshape alliances and those global power structures,
Right.
and what it could mean for the future of our interconnected world.
All right, so you wanted the inside scoop on what's happening with those BRICS nations, right?
Yeah.
Well, get this. We just went through transcripts from their recent summit, and let me tell you, it was not your typical diplomatic get-together.
No, not at all.
It was more like
Yeah.
a glimpse into a potential power shift that could reshape the whole global landscape.
You know, they're not just talking about economic growth. They're actually laying out this whole vision for reshaping global finance and maybe even the balance of power itself.
I mean, think about it. The summit was in Kazan, Russia, and it wasn't just the BRICS leaders hanging out.
Right.
We're talking presidents, prime ministers, foreign ministers, even people from those big financial institutions like that new development bank.
Oh, yeah. The NDB.
They were all there, huddled together, strategizing, making deals.
And what's really interesting is they're not shying away from the problems in the world right now. Geopolitical tensions, crazy debt burdens, even those protectionist policies that are popping up everywhere.
They're like acknowledging it head on.
Exactly. They're saying, hey, this is the reality we're dealing with.
And get this, they're actually highlighting how all these factors are hitting those developing countries the hardest.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, look, this isn't just some abstract problem. It's having a real impact on people's lives.
But here's the twist. They're also presenting themselves as this, source of stability in all the chaos.
It's a bold move.
Right.
They're pointing to their own responsible economic policies and saying, look at us. We're experiencing growth while other developed economies are struggling.
They're saying, we're doing things differently and it's working.
Exactly.
But they're not stopping there.
Oh, no, they've got this ambitious vision for the future, and they're calling it a new wave of global growth.
Driven by BRICS nations.
You got it. They're not just throwing around buzzwords either.
Right.
They're outlining specific areas where they plan to collaborate: technology, trade, finance, even sustainable development.
This isn't just talk. It's like a strategic plan.
Oh, absolutely. It's a plan to reshape the entire global landscape.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for you. They're proposing to create this brand new BRICS investment platform. Think about that for a second. A whole new system for funding projects.
That's huge.
And it's not just for them. It's aimed at providing resources to those countries in the global south and east.
That's right. This is a potential game changer. Imagine a world where developing countries have access to capital without having to rely on those traditional financial institutions.
It could really shift the balance of power in a big way.
Oh, absolutely. And create all sorts of new opportunities for growth and development in parts of the world that have been kind of left behind.
It's like they're saying, we're not playing by the old rules anymore, we're creating our own.
Exactly.
But this investment platform is just one piece of the puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
They've got a whole bunch of initiatives designed to tackle some of the biggest global issues head on.
They're looking at everything, strengthening those supply chains to make them more resilient, expanding e-commerce to boost trade, even reforming the World Trade Organization.
To make it fairer.
Exactly. It's an ambitious agenda, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It shows that they're serious about taking a leadership role on the world stage.
No doubt about it.
Now, one initiative that really caught my eye was that BRICS grain exchange. I mean, think about it. In a world where food prices are all over the place and there are all these concerns about shortages.
It could be huge.
Right. This could be a major development.
Absolutely. They're talking about creating a system that guarantees fair prices for grains, protects national markets from manipulation.
And those artificial shortages that drive prices sky high.
Exactly. If they can pull it off, it could have a real impact on global food security.
And it all ties into their focus on energy security, too,
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
I mean, BRICS nations are major players in that energy market, both as producers and consumers.
So they're in a unique position to influence things.
Exactly.
Right.
They're not just talking about securing their own energy supplies, they're talking about enhancing global energy security as a whole.
And in a world where energy is such a critical resource, that kind of influence carries a lot of weight.
They're also emphasizing cooperation in areas like healthcare science, even culture.
It's like they're trying to build a holistic partnership.
Not just an economic one. I was totally surprised to hear about their BRICS medical journal.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
It's a platform for doctors, researchers, even medical students from all the BRICS nations to collaborate and share their knowledge.
It's a really interesting idea.
It shows that they're serious about fostering innovation in healthcare.
Absolutely. And don't forget about their push to bridge the digital divide and advance artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just talking about developing AI, though. They're also talking about regulating it responsibly. President Putin actually proposed a BRICS alliance specifically for regulating AI technologies, which could have major implications for the future of AI development globally.
Wow, that's thinking ahead.
Yeah, they're playing the long game.
So they've got these grand plans for the economy, healthcare technology, but then they throw in something completely unexpected, BRICS Geographers Day?
You gotta love it, right? But it actually highlights their commitment to cultural exchange and celebrating the diversity within BRICS nations. It's a reminder that true collaboration goes beyond just policy and economics. It's about building human connections as well.
So you've got this picture of BRICS nations actively shaping this new world order, one that's more multipolar, more inclusive, and more focused on cooperation.
It's a bold vision.
But they're not just talking about it, they're backing it up with these concrete initiatives and actions.
They're proposing alternative systems, creating new institutions, and inviting other nations to join their movement.
It's like they're putting out this global invitation saying, come join us in building a new world order.
And they seem particularly focused on building solidarity with those countries in the global South and East.
Right. They see those nations as natural allies in their quest for a more multipolar world. And it's interesting how they're using the term global majority instead of developing countries.
It's a subtle shift in language, but it reflects their belief that these nations are no longer on the sidelines,
They're becoming the main players.
the main players in the global game.
It's a powerful reframing of the global power dynamic, and it's resonating with a lot of nations who have long felt marginalized by those existing structures of power.
It's a message that's finding a receptive audience.
But let's be honest, this rise of BRICS has some serious geopolitical implications.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
How will this new world order, if they succeed in creating it, affect the existing power dynamics? I mean, that's what I'm really curious about.
Well, let's take a look at how BRICS is actually putting those goals into action. Remember those economic and humanitarian tracks we mentioned? BRICS isn't just building some club. They're constructing a whole ecosystem for cooperation.
So what are the key building blocks of this BRICS ecosystem? I'm especially interested in that new development bank, the NDB.
The NDB, it's like the financial engine driving this whole operation. See, it was created specifically by those BRICS nations to fund all those big infrastructure and sustainable development projects, both within their own countries and in other emerging economies. Think of it as an alternative to the World Bank, but with a BRICS-centric perspective.
So it's like their own in-house bank, but with a mission to challenge that traditional financial order. And I remember President Putin specifically highlighted that NDB's expanding role.
That's right. He emphasized their goal of expanding the NDB's reach, not just within the BRICS bloc, but across the global South and East. It's a clear signal that they're serious about reshaping global finance to better serve their interests and those of their allies.
It makes you wonder if they're aiming to create a whole new financial system, one that operates in parallel to the existing one.
Right? But the NDB isn't working alone. What about that BRICS Business Council? What role do they play in all of this?
The Business Council is all about fostering those practical partnerships that can really drive economic growth. President Putin actually praised them for their efforts in connecting those big corporations with those small and medium-sized enterprises. It's all about building bridges across those different sectors: trade, manufacturing, agriculture, energy, you name it.
Okay, so they're building connections between businesses of all sizes. That's smart. It creates a more diverse and resilient economic ecosystem. But what really caught my attention was their emphasis on interbank cooperation. I mean, that's where the real magic happens, right? That's where things get really interesting. Imagine combining the strengths of multiple financial institutions to really tackle those projects with real social impact. It's about pooling resources and expertise to achieve something much bigger than any single bank could do on its own.
It's like creating a financial Avengers team. And let's not forget about that push for using national currencies in trade and investment. Now, that's a move that could send ripples throughout the global financial system.
It's a direct challenge to the dominance of the US dollar. If they succeed in reducing that reliance on the dollar, it can fundamentally alter how global trade and finance actually operate.
It's a bold move, for sure. But it's not just about economic power, is it? They're also making efforts to support women entrepreneurs through that BRICS Women's Business Alliance.
Absolutely. President Putin specifically highlighted the alliance's work in creating those opportunities for women in business. They're facilitating connections, promoting promising projects, and helping those women entrepreneurs really navigate those challenges of starting and growing their businesses.
It's a recognition that true economic progress requires inclusivity. Everyone benefits when women are empowered to participate fully in the economy. But with all these ambitious plans, the big question on my mind is, can they really pull it off? I mean, building a new world order is no easy feat.
That's the big question, isn't it? There are definitely challenges ahead, both internal and external. Coordinating the efforts of 5 diverse nations with their own unique interest, that's no small task. And then there's the question of how the rest of the world, particularly those established powers, will react to this emerging BRICS-led order.
And don't forget about the potential for disagreements or those competing priorities within BRICS itself. But here's the thing. They've already made some serious progress. They're not starting from scratch. Their partnership is already functioning on multiple levels: political security, economic, financial, even cultural.
And they're not keeping their vision a secret.
What does the rise of BRICS actually mean for the world? I mean, we're talking about a potential shift in the global power dynamic.
Right, absolutely. This isn't just about economics or trade anymore. The changes we're seeing have the potential to reshape alliances, even redefine what it means to be a global power.
It's almost like watching a slow-motion earthquake. You know, the tectonic plates of global power are shifting, and those aftershocks could be felt for decades to come. So how are the major players reacting to all of this? Are the U.S. and the European Union ready to share the stage?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Some experts believe that a more multipolar world, where power is distributed more evenly, could actually be a good thing.
How so?
Well, think about it. If no single nation holds all the cards, there's a greater incentive to cooperate, find common ground, and work together to solve those big global problems.
Right. It's like that old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But let's be real. A multipolar world also comes with its own set of challenges. What happens if there's no clear leader to coordinate action on those big issues like climate change or global pandemics?
That's a valid concern. Without a strong leader, things could definitely get messy. There's a risk of fragmentation, regional conflicts, and a lack of coordinated action on those issues that really require global cooperation. Plus, let's not forget about the potential for competition over resources, influence, and technological dominance.
And history has shown us time and time again that these shifts in power dynamics can lead to instability and even conflict. I mean, look at the situation with Russia right now, the sanctions, the tensions surrounding that conflict in Ukraine. It's definitely a complicating factor for BRICS.
It's a significant factor. Russia is a key member of BRICS, and its strained relationship with the West creates a situation where BRICS is seen by some as an alternative to that Western-led order. It's almost like 2 separate worlds are emerging.
A tale of 2 systems. The existing global governance structures led by the U.S. and its allies, and this rising bloc of nations spearheaded by BRICS, that's looking to create a new system. So the big question is, can these 2 worlds coexist peacefully? Or are we headed for a clash of ideologies and interests?
That's the question that keeps those policymakers and analysts up at night. The relationship between BRICS and the established powers is complex, to say the least. There are areas of potential cooperation, but also areas where friction is almost inevitable. And the outcome of this geopolitical tug of war will have major consequences for everyone.
So what does all of this mean for our listener? How can they make sense of these shifting global sands? What should they be paying attention to as these geopolitical changes unfold?
Well, the key takeaway is that we're living in a time of unprecedented change. The old rules no longer apply, and the future is anything but certain. But within that uncertainty lies opportunity.
Opportunity, how so?
Well, it's a chance to rethink our assumptions, challenge the status quo, and explore new possibilities. The rise of BRICS is a wake-up call. The world is not static, it's dynamic, it's evolving. And we need to be adaptable and engaged if we want to navigate these changes successfully.
I like that. So this is a time for curiosity, critical thinking, and open-mindedness.
We need to listen to different perspectives, understand the motivations of other nations, and find ways to cooperate even when we disagree. Because ultimately, the challenges we face, climate change, pandemics, poverty, these are global challenges that require global solutions.
We're all in this together, whether we like it or not. And those solutions can only emerge through dialogue, understanding, and cooperation. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the BRICS Summit, I encourage you, our listener, to stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay curious.
The world is changing, and the possibilities are endless. Who knows what the future holds? But one thing is for sure, it's going to be a fascinating ride.
Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. What stood out to you? What questions do you have? Keep exploring, and until next time, stay curious.